What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the BlockHash podcast. Today, I have another exciting guest on the show. Today, we have founder Gentleman James of iYield here to talk about their platform that's empowering fellow crypto holders to better understand and manage their crypto finances, investments, and to leverage crypto to become more financially independent and successful. So, Gentleman James, welcome to the show, man. How you doing, man?
Thanks. I'm good. Thanks. I'm glad to be here. Nice to see you, gentleman Brandon.
Thank you very much. Awesome. To kick it off, would love to give the audience a little bit of an idea of who Gentleman James is, what your background is a little bit, and kind of what led you to iYield. So what can you tell us about your story?
Yeah, I guess we can just start at the crypto part. Back in 2013, I was living in Thailand, and a couple of my roommates were professional poker players. We called them poker refugees because after poker was made illegal in the USA, online poker, they all dispersed around the world. There was a big online poker community came up in Costa Rica and came up in Thailand, and I was kind of a part of that. And they had all kinds of trouble getting funds from their bank in the USA to their poker account in some random island, let's say, whatever offshore jurisdiction the poker site used, to their bank account in Thailand or to their hand in Thailand. And it was a nightmare for them. So a lot of those guys were early adopters of crypto. I just heard about it. Obviously, at the time, it was only Bitcoin was the only thing mentioned. Bitcoin was a few $100s at the time. So they were using it with each other, and I thought it was a huge scam, and they were all idiots, and they were going to get wrecked and everything. But about the third time I looked into it, I instead of just looking into crypto, I actually looked into fiat currency, and that's what actually made the light bulb go off. What sold me on crypto was not learning about crypto; it was learning about the US dollar, learning about how fiat currency works. That's what actually makes you see the benefits of crypto. So I decided to get some to try it out. The only place you could buy at the time was Mt. Gox. I got onto Mt. Gox and I turned around and ran in the opposite direction as soon as possible. So that was me missing the chance to buy Bitcoin at $100 or less. But I kept reading, and I just got more and more convinced, and I ended up I was back in Australia where finally we did have a decent exchange. It was now the end of 2013. Bitcoin was $500, and I went all in. And since then, I've had all my savings and all my income 100% in crypto. So I got in when Bitcoin was $500 with my whole life savings at the time, which was about $10,000. So that and yeah, it's been. But I didn't just buy and hold. This was the active kind of evangelical days of Bitcoin, where we actually thought we could spread merchant adoption and onboard the whole population and everything. So I was fully bought into like the politics and the philosophy and the technology and the future, and I'd go to all the Bitcoin meetups, all the Bitcoin conferences I could go to. I started a blog about crypto, and that was successful. And the great thing about having the blog about crypto, it was all Bitcoin at the time, so I'll just say Bitcoin. Having a blog about Bitcoin is that all the revenue from the blog I would get in Bitcoin, so that I was essentially forced to have all my savings in Bitcoin. Like I would have had to sell Bitcoin to not be all in Bitcoin. So I wasn't buying crypto, but I was earning crypto, and that's kind of how it stayed. How I stayed all in crypto, even up to amounts large enough that most people would tell you to diversify. But like I said, I was all in on the whole picture, on the philosophy and the culture and the the values and everything. So I sold that blog because I got bored of blogging, and then I no longer had my income in crypto, so I wanted to make crypto on crypto returns. So I wanted to kind of invest my crypto for more crypto, which we now call DeFi, but the word didn't exist at the time. And I couldn't really do that with Bitcoin. And in fact, the earliest way to do that, well, not the very earliest, but one of the earliest ways to do that before Ethereum was even talking about validators or proof of stake. Was the original Ethereum validator was the Dash Masternode. So I tried Dash Masternodes just for the sake of having that crypto on crypto returns, and I like that. I like that idea. So I tried more and more things, and by this time, early Ethereum DeFi had started. So I tried getting into early kind of liquidity providing on Thorchain, and Thorchain had a really cool model. It was a cool idea, but it was really clunky and really hard to use and really buggy. But I persisted, and by this time, I had some funds in, still had some funds in Bitcoin. I was getting dash on dash returns from masternodes. I was getting Ethereum and Rune returns on Thorchain liquidity providing, and I was trying new things that were coming up, and it was a real pain to actually keep track of all these things and to compare which one. I also had of course, just vanilla Ethereum validators. It was before withdrawals, but you could still, have a validator, and it was a pain to keep track of all these things. And I had a couple of spreadsheets, and to check what was happening, to check what returns I was getting on Dash, I'd have to go to the Dash Masternode dashboard, and to check what returns I was getting on Thorchain, I'd have to go to the Thorchain LP dashboard, and to check what returns I was getting on my ETH validators, I'd have to go to Beacon Chain, beacon.in or beacon.in or Allnodes, who was hosting it for me. And to check the Bitcoin balances, I'd have to check a Block Explorer, and they're all in different wallets. So I realized, I need a portfolio tracker that supports DeFi yield, not just that tells you how much your assets are worth, but that actually tells you how much income you're making with your assets. So at the time, there was portfolio trackers like there are now, like now the popular one is DBank or whichever. But all they would tell you is the value of your assets. They wouldn't tell you anything about your DeFi income. So that's where you'd have to do your own spreadsheet, and it was really clunky to update your spreadsheet, update the values, update the balances, update the. So I thought this could be useful for everyone. Let me build it myself, and not, even though DeFi was rolling by then, I didn't want to be Ethereum only. I wanted it to be multi-chain. That was another thing that was missing in the marketplace. A lot of the portfolio sites were just like Ethereum only, or just specific to one income. So I made the first version of iYield that had that DeFi yield as well as the asset value, and it was useful. But then I realized I was still using a spreadsheet because I still had to put in what were my expenses and what debts I had to actually get my net worth or my budget savings rate. So then the real idea for iYield was born, which is like financial management for crypto natives. So it's essentially like these portfolio trackers just basically support assets. iYield also supports income, debts, and expenses. And those are basically the four pillars of personal finance: assets, debts, incomes, expenses. DBank, or your portfolio tracker, supports one of those. You're getting 25% of your picture. And then you're going to use a spreadsheet to try to incorporate the others. So iYield does all that for you in one dashboard. We support every coin under the sun, as in every coin, every asset on CoinMarketCap, and 40 odd DeFi protocols where we get the income. You can show everything in the native currencies of the investments, or you can show everything in your local fiat currency, or you can bring everything back to Ethereum in terms of the balances that are displayed. So yeah, it's essentially something I built because I knew I needed it, and I assumed other people would need it. And when I talked to other people similar to me, mostly, to be frank, mostly whales, they they agreed that it was really needed. So now it's released, and now we want people to give it a try. I should mention it's free. Sorry for the sales pitch.
You're good. No, it's definitely something that I need for sure. I think a lot of people need, because there's so many different things that you can do within the Web3 space, especially within DeFi. If we look just at that, it's really hard to track. There's so much going on. There's yields here, there's lending there, there's restaking over there, and it's like impossible to keep an eye on. And it's not just, I'm holding X, Y, or Z. So yeah, there's definitely a huge need for that out there in the marketplace. So it makes sense, why you came up with iYield and what you guys are doing as like crypto financial planning and tracking. What would you say really differentiates it? I know you talked about, I believe, D-Bank and stuff kind of being maybe the best comparison to it, but from traditional financial planning tools, even outside of crypto, what makes it really unique? What makes it stand out?
Yeah, what makes it stand out from TradFi financial planning tools is that it supports crypto. Is that
That's one, yeah.
it's crypto, and there are a couple that will show you your balance in Bitcoin, but they're not going to support any of the latest meme coins. As soon as something's on CoinMarketCap, which the latest meme coins are, then it's supported on iYield. So the difference between the other crypto financial planning tools, which are basically just portfolio trackers, is that we're much more holistic, much more all-encompassing. Assets, debts, incomes, expenses. They only do assets. And what separates us from TradFi financial planning tools is that we're crypto native. It's really easy to add your crypto positions. It's really easy to edit your crypto positions. You can just put in your wallet address and we'll search for everything in the wallet, or you can obviously link your MetaMask or link your Phantom wallet, and we'll grab all those positions. You can then you can make multiple spaces. So you might make one space for your meme coin degenning, and make another space for your where you're saving up for your kids' college fund or whatever. We have different. You can separate different spaces. We have lots of features that no one else has, frankly.
Yeah, I want to dive into some of the features. Like you're mentioning, like, can you have separated like portfolios or investments or things you can look at? Like if you want to invest in crazy meme coin moonshot type project, but at the same time you want to save for college, or you want to save for medical expenses, or maybe you just want to put some aside for general long-term investments. Maybe you're trying to buy a car or a house. Like, can you segregate
Yeah.
these things really well?
Yeah, we call them spaces, and it's kind of what it sounds like. It's like different portfolios or different spaces. Another cool use for them is you can have experimental spaces. Like you might be 50% in Rocket Pool and 50% in Puffer, and you want to experiment. What would it be like if I changed it to 30 30 30 and added Stater? So you can make an experimental space where you can manually add. You might use manually editing that because you don't actually have any Stater in your address, so you might just manually put in a Stater validators in there. But yeah, experimental spaces are good. Or we all think of what if I sold my house and aped all into Bitcoin? You can make your real finance space, and then make an experimental space where you sell your house for $500,000 and put it all in Bitcoin, and then you can follow that for 6 months and see how it would have been 6 months later. So experimental spaces is another good use for spaces, as well as if you want to segregate your finances, or even have like a workspace and a personal space. It's very flexible. It's very hackable. Even though we support as much as we can, and we're always adding support for new protocols and things. If anything's not supported, you can always add it manually, and then you can manually edit your items. So it's very kind of customizable and personal to you.
Okay. And then how do you go about setting all that up? Can you link your wallets and exchange accounts and like it auto populates for you? Or do you have to do any of that stuff manually? Or what does it kind of look like? Like if I was going to start today and setting all that stuff up, what the process kind of looks like?
Yeah, spot on. Like you said, we'll get everything from that address or everything from that wallet, and you can indeed link your Binance account. Binance has a read-only API, so it only lets us see balances. It doesn't let us have any access to anything. Same like connecting your wallet. It just lets us read what's in there. So yeah, we have support for Binance as like a centralized custodian, and we're able to add support for more centralized exchanges in the future if we get requests from users. So yeah, you kind of know what you have already from your wallets or your spreadsheet. Most of it, you just put your address into iYield, we'll search it and get it, and then you can always add. So that's for your crypto stuff. Let's say you have a savings account at the bank. You'll just enter that manually. And, in a way, it's going back to being a bit more like a spreadsheet, but only for those, only for the non-crypto items. If you have a house, you can add it manually, and your expenses, you add them manually, a bit like if you were doing a budgeting in any kind of budget application or a spreadsheet.
Okay, very cool. And then, what other plans you guys have to integrate, additional services in the future? Like, are you guys constantly like adding things to the table and to the list, or is it again something that's pretty modular? You just need your address and the system can populate itself.
Yeah, we're just adding right now. We're just adding a lot more DeFi protocols and a lot more chains, like be them Ethereum L2s and L1s. We kind of go by what our users actually have or what they want. If anything you hold is not supported on iYield, please hit us up in the Discord or on Twitter, and we can add things if we have the user requests for them. And we're adding we're adding more chains, more protocols, and also like more features. We're about to add a fire calculator, financially independent retire early, where you can just we can take what's in your space, let's say what's in your portfolio, and you can then we can figure out, let's say you know you need this much to retire, or you need this much per year to retire for 30 years. We can kind of calculate when you would be able to retire, stuff like that. I mean, I've heard people wondering out loud, how many Ethereum validators would I need to retire?
You can input like the APY and the yield and kind of figure out like if I'm, staking this and it's compounding over X amount of months or years. That'd be very helpful, I think.
Yeah, and I'm currently 40 years old. I want to retire when I'm 60. Is that or I'm currently 30 years old. When will I be able to retire? Given this income, and you can put it in. I should say this we're working on this. It's not launched yet, but it's coming. You can put in, let's say what your kind of incomes and things are, or we can just get it from the space that you've already set up in iYield. That'll be the easy way. Yeah.
And then kind of backtracking a little bit, but what ecosystems are available currently? Like, is it like mainly Ethereum, or is there Solana, Cardano? Like, what's kind of like the scope of availability?
Yeah, it's a lot of Ethereum. It's mostly Ethereum in terms of DeFi protocols, in terms of getting your income, getting your getting your yield. That's mostly Ethereum. But just in terms of getting your balances, we support everything under the sun in that we just get everything from CoinMarketCap. So CoinMarketCap has more than 10,000 coins. And then for we support a lot of the old school UTXO chains, like Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Zcash, Phantom, Dash. We support BNB chains, a bunch of L2s, Avalanche. Have a look at iYield.com. The homepage is iYield.com. That kind of has the overview of our support, and then you can click through to the knowledge base to get all the details. And we want to just keep adding support for more chains, for more L2s, for more DeFi protocols.
Any support coming in the near future for Solana's ecosystem or Cardano's ecosystem? I know DeFi is really big in those two, so I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, good question. Right now we'll essentially just get your balances. We support Solana in that kind of basic sense, a bit like a portfolio tracker does. We don't have many Solana DeFi integrations, but they should be coming soon. It depends a bit on user demand. If our users ask for it, we'll add it.
You mentioned in the beginning too that iYield is a free tool. What goes into making that free? And then are there anything in terms of like subscriptions or tiers that people can pay for?
Yeah, iYield's free. There'll always be a free version. Right now, we're quite recently launched, so we're still just in the growth phase. We're just trying to get more users, get user feedback, get the product as good as possible by getting it battle tested with real users. So right now we just want people to try iYield, and that will always be the case. And like I said, I didn't even build it to make money. I built it for me because I needed it, and also like I wanted, like I said, I sold my blog because I was bored of doing that, but then I was obviously bored of doing nothing, and I wanted to be I wanted to be back in the crypto ecosystem. Like I'm here in Bangkok for DevCon, really looking forward to that. So I wanted to be in to be in the cut and thrust. I wanted to build things in crypto. I still believe in the empowering individuals. So that's kind of why I made it, not to make money. The free tier, the free version is extremely generous in terms of how much you can do with it. You can have 1,000 items, 20 spaces. I'm a whale, and I'm happy quite happy on the free version. We have a paid version, which is it's there in case anyone wants to use iYield in a way that's different than what we intended. Like,
what would you consider different than intended?
I guess a business use, as in like serving multiple customers with it. Different than intended is I guess you could see that as just being more than 1,000 items, more than 20 spaces, more than the limits we have on the free version, because it's hard to see how an individual needs that. But if they do, it's fine. They can. The pro version is only $39 a year. You can pay in crypto, so that's a bargain. I mean, the most comparable tools cost about $30 a month. So our pro version is $39 a year, payable in crypto. And if anyone is pro, we'll certainly bend over backwards to add support for whatever protocols you happen to be in.
So I imagine with a crypto financial planning tool like this, there's probably some really interesting DeFi yield strategies that come out of it that users probably find, playing around and being like, oh, I can compare this and that, and maybe, this is better staked here and that's better held for this period of time, or this ecosystem might be more favorable. Just kind of curious if, from user feedback or from community or even your own experiences, if there's any like really cool DeFi yield strategies that maybe have kind of come afloat.
I can only speak personally. What I'm personally into is actually things more like these vaults where you just put your money in the vault, and then the vault deploys it into multiple DeFi protocols. And the vault, they used to be called yield optimizers, right? Where you'd put your money into a yield optimizer, like I guess like Beefy. I'm not sure because I never used them much. But the problems with those is they were still just doing one. They would optimize the yield in one DeFi strategy. So I'm recently getting into these vaults where they'll optimize your yield in multiple yield strategies from a single deposit. So like I said, I'm just talking personally what I have in my iYield. We have really good support for things like EtherFi liquid vaults, as well as sommelier vaults, as well as Amphir vaults. Lots of these things. And the other thing where we have really strong support for is in I'm not sure what the technical term is. These types of nodes, but they're like the nodes that back liquid staking tokens, like Rocket Pool and Puffer validators and Stater validators. We have good support for those things, and just vanilla Ethereum nodes. And we have a lot of support as well for restaking, like Eigenlayer and all those liquid restaking tokens like Swirl and everything under the sun, really.
So what's on the horizon for iYield? What do you guys have planned maybe on your guys' roadmap going into 2025? Maybe it's features for new users. Maybe it's insights on the platform or as a tool. Maybe it's expanding into other ecosystems like we mentioned earlier. What's kind of the plan, and what do you want users to keep an eye out for?
We actually want the users to tell us what they would like to be added, both in terms of features and in terms of protocol and chain support. So we want to get feedback from the users and implement that. So we want people to just try iYield. Go to iYield.com. As well as it being free, you can also just try it with a guest account. You go straight into guest account and then play around with it, and then if you like it, you can then add a login method to your guest account. So it's no pressure. It's I should say it's fully anonymous. We don't ask for your ID or get your ID or anything about you. So it's free and anonymous and private. So we just want people to try it, and then we'll be implementing user requests. The only other thing that comes to mind is the like I said, the FIRE calculator, financially independent retire early calculator. We're working on that in the background. That'll come soon.
Are there any tools for tracking transactions, monitoring stuff, for tax purposes and things like that when people file in their jurisdiction, like any like little things kind of like that?
Yeah, one thing that comes to mind, and it's also what about features. We've just added a new feature, which is simply the tracking the historic value of your items. Like maybe this Bitcoin position is worth $10,000 today, but you want to know what it was worth when you first added it to iYield, or what it was worth 6 months ago. So we have support for historic values, and that could be relevant for tax. The reason we can't do too much explicit tax features is because it's different in every country. It's different in every jurisdiction. So we're making a global service. So iYield can be very useful for calculating your taxes, but we don't have exactly a calculate my tax button. You'd have to probably go back to a spreadsheet, but you could get your values from the values from iYield, including the historic value. You're calculating your taxes. You might need to know what your entry price was, so you check your historic values that are there on iYield compared to your exit price, what you sold at, and so you have those dates and you have those values in iYield. So it will definitely help you to do your taxes or any other types of reporting you need to do.
Awesome. And then if users do have any requests for features or feedback they want to give, where can they do that?
Yeah, just hit us up on our Discord or on X. We're happy to hear from everyone.
Awesome. And then community, I assume, is primarily Discord, X, stuff like that.
Yeah, to be frank, we've only recently launched, and we're a small community, so we're all in Discord and X for now.
Gentlemen, James, thank you so much, man. It's been great getting to learn more about iYield. I really do think you have a fantastic tool. It's something that I'm definitely going to be using going forward. And I think a lot of people are really going to find helpful too, because there's so much stuff in the Web3 space. It's really hard to keep track of it. And I think this is, very much needed. So good work on it, and congrats, and best of luck to when it, continues to grow and user base and community continues to grow. And let's do this again in the near future too, when you continue developing out.
Yeah, thanks, gentlemen. Brandon, I hope you enjoy iYield, and you can share with your audience as well what you like or don't like about it. And we're glad to have you on board.
Anyone listening and watching, you can find all the links in the description of the episode down below. So make sure to go check out iYield and get set up today. Gentlemen, talk to you next time, man. Pleasure.
Thanks, mate. See you later. Ciao. Bye.